Welcome to Columbia, South Carolina. On December 20th, 1860, the state of South Carolina seceded from the Union. Shortly thereafter, 7 other states followed. On January 9th, 1861, the first shots of the Civil War were fired. The history of slavery in the South and the subsequent Civil War has captured the attention of a nation for many, many years, and justifiably so. However, the strife between African Americans and Caucasians are only part of the story. There are many other cultures who face challenges on a day-to-day basis living in the South as well. In this presentation, we will look at some of the other cultures and take a step outside of the issue of black and white and see what they've had to face.
My name is Galina Baldwin, and I work at Richland Library since 2001.
I'm Nancy Smith. I'm originally from Brazil. I've been here in the United States for almost 13 years now.
My name is Michael Tran. I'm Vietnamese. I'm originally from Pennsylvania. Came down here probably when I was 1. My parents are from Vietnam.
Hello, my name is Maite Velasco Nicolas. I am from Madrid, Spain, and I've been in South Carolina for, I believe, 8 years.
In the field of public safety, fire, police, and emergency medical personnel are required to step into the unknown every single day. The more information that we have, the better that we can address issues that we may not understand. The cultures that will be represented here is just a small sampling of the multiculturalism of America and the different cultures that we can expect to face in an unknown, unpredictable line of work.
I'm William Lott, Sheriff of Richland County. I've been a sheriff for the past 19 years. Been in law enforcement for the past 4 years. Richland County is a very diverse county. We're probably one of the most diverse counties that you've got in South Carolina. We have a little bit of everything in here. We actually have one of our main thoroughfares, Decker Boulevard, is called International Boulevard. The reason is because there's so many nationalities that we have in Richland County. This area has been declared International Boulevard, so we have a lot of different stores, restaurants that cater to the different cultures that we've got in Richland County. When you talk about cultures, it goes beyond black and white, particularly in Richland County. We have a huge Asian community, a Middle Eastern community, we have a Hispanic community, we have a little bit of everything, and our community is continuously changing.
This is my second time in the States. The first time, I didn't speak a lot of English, and it was a little bit difficult because for whatever reason people have the tendency to ignore you when you don't speak the language.
Another big problem I have is, well, not really a problem, I guess it's for my parents. When they came over, they didn't speak the language. And every time people approached them, they're like, why don't you speak English? And when they came over, they were like in their 40s. And most people don't realize how English is a very hard language to understand and learn. It's probably one of the most difficult languages to learn out of all the language. And that's the problem that they had. And to this day, they still have problems learning the language. It's not because they don't want to learn, it's because it's just hard. And the majority of the time when they came over here, they had to work. So the language issue was their huge barrier.
American English is different from what I learned back in Russia. It was more British, and there are some southern accents here or impressions which I didn't understand at the beginning of my work here.
Whether it's a language barrier or a cultural misunderstanding, it's our responsibility as the first responders to slow down and work our way step by step through the situation. To make the person feel comfortable to talk to us, because under some circumstances they may not be comfortable at all. These are emergency situations requiring emergency procedures, but that doesn't mean they have to be conducted in an urgent fashion. It's not a race. We need to slow down, concentrate on what we're doing, and help these people in the best way that we possibly can. The way that we can do that the best is understanding who we're dealing with in the first place.
I came from the country which was behind the iron fence. You were not allowed to speak up. You were not allowed to interact with Americans. Even being a diplomat, Russian diplomats in Washington, D.C., we were not allowed to talk with our neighbors or make friends with Americans.
Just recently we had a meeting where we have refugees from various countries who are being now brought into Richland County. We have to establish a relationship with them. So the churches who are bringing them in have already reached out to us and asked us could we come in, talk to these different individuals we got from the different areas of the world to let them know what law enforcement's about, that we're not the bad guys. And that's one thing that you find in a lot of other cultures, that law enforcement and authority is the bad guys. There's a lot of mistrust. They don't want to work with law enforcement. Law enforcement's the ones who harass them, who rob them, take the money from them. So we have to change that because that's not where we are in Richland County.
When I came here about 3 times as a tourist, I did have some very good impression experience that I always talk about it because I thought it was so neat. I came here the first time in 2001 as a tourist, and I came here to Columbia, South Carolina, and I was just amazed about everything, how friendly people are, and always that's the experience that I had, people waving at me and saying hi. I'm like, okay, see, I wasn't very used to that because we're friendly, but we generally just pass by unless we know people. But I thought that was the very first thing, and how people were like kind of inviting me in just to say hello, and I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it's incumbent upon law enforcement to make the effort to go out and understand the different cultures in your community instead of that culture learning more about us. We have to learn more about them.
So what do we do? What do we do when we encounter a culture different than our own? What do we do when we're a first responder, first on an emergency scene, and the cultures that we're dealing with are something that's foreign to us, something that we don't understand? More importantly, they don't understand us.
As a sheriff and as a sheriff's department, our job is to provide services for everybody in our county. That includes all the different cultures. We're just not the sheriff's department for a certain neighborhood or a certain demographic. We have to relate to everybody. I think it's very important that your agency reflects the diversity of the community that you're serving. I think that's very important. If a different culture sees officers who look like them, who talk like them, then that's immediate breaking down barriers where you can build a relationship. So I think as a leader of a law enforcement agency, you have to go out and recruit different cultures that are represented in your county or your city. That's incumbent upon you to do that. So that has to be an effort. You have to make the effort. Law enforcement has to make the effort. I just don't think it's up to the individual citizen to be the one to initiate it. Once you initiate it, then it becomes going back and forth, and that's when you build that relationship.
Well, I'm Captain E.J. Talbot, the training officer for the Highway Patrol. It's my responsibility to ensure that all the officers on the South Carolina Highway Patrol receive their required training on an annual basis, along with any other training that we deem necessary. Earlier this year, we did partner with the Department of Justice, and what we did was we had an instructor come down from the Department of Justice and train us in dealing with culturalism in a professional way.
The first thing that we need to do is what we're trained to do. As first responders, it is our responsibility to make sure that the scene is secure, to make sure that people are okay and that the emergency has passed. Once that has happened, once the scene is secure, we need to slow down. The most important thing that we have when we're dealing with a foreign culture is to communicate.
What we want to do, what we want to train our officers in is not just that the population of South Carolina is diverse, but how do we deal with that diversity in those different cultures. The main thing that we try to get through to our officers is we want to focus on the fact that they need to respect the differences of the different cultures out there. We're not asking them to adopt any of those cultures or anything like that. Just respect the differences.
We have seen different cultures represented not only in the South, but the world over. The purpose of this video is to give the viewer the tools that they need to have a better cultural understanding of the diverse world in which we live.